Hello. My name is Rebecca, and this is my channel. And I'm going to talk about three books that I currently finished. One of them I gave a 5 star. The first book I finished was Help the Help, and this book was really good. It was basically about um, these two black women who help raise white children. And we also have another main character whose name is Skeeter, and she kind of helps gets this idea to write a book about these black women helping raise our raise the white society's children, and it's just really interesting. Um, And this book I loved. I absolutely loved. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me just go in awe or like be in awe because there was some stuff that was really horrible. Like, they talked about there was this one guy that got killed and stuff. And it's just an interesting dynamic of how we weren't really accepting um, of blacks back then, and this takes it was after slavery, obviously, but it was when um, we were when they were working, the blacks were working, and but we were still kind of segregated. We were like together but separated because the black people had to use black bathroom. They had to, all this stuff was black water fountain, white water fountain, kind of dumb. But that's what it was back then, and I really love this book just because of the emotional impact in the lives of these three women and kind of like the friendships that evolved around them. I felt like it was really powerful and stuff like that. Really good book. I rated that a 5 star. I loved it. The next book I read was The Land, the Founding, another one that, you know, another one that I read on audiobook, and this one is about a boy named Victor, but has another name. He is playing it on his computer game, like an MMO type of game, like World of Warcraft or EverQuest, stuff like that, where it's more of online. It's an online community game, and so he's playing this game, and then suddenly he wakes up inside the game. So, and I love these books like that. Normally, I mean, Ready Player One was like that. 5 out of 5 with that, and there was another one I forget. It was a Merlin retelling, but that one was really good as well because it had like the this one was it was good, but it had like potential. Like there was this one part where he says that he was told that he's gonna get memory loss if he dies. So he like tries not to die. But I didn't really notice any memory loss besides the fact that he like would he forget his true name? I forgot his true name. I don't know his true name. So what the F? If I don't remember his true name, nobody else he won't probably remember his true name. But so I don't know if that's yeah. It just and it was all it. There was some really funny parts in it. I felt like the there was this one guy character who was when he gets to this town, the main character gets to town. There was this one character that like kind of like was like would help him build the town up and stuff. And the character like was like a orb, so it would kind of like Glinda, kind of with that bubble type, and he would come and then he would like appear, and he'd be usually like really really close to him, and it was just like hilarious. But I would say that this book is funny, but it's not really that amazing. Like I feel like the stats kind of are frequently used too much, and you really don't need that in a, like a game type of story or whatever. You don't need stats all the time. Like it just gets too much in my head. I'm like, huh? Like, yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like. Then I also read Jane Eyre, and I rated Lillian, I think 3 stars. And the next um, book I read was Jane Eyre, and Jane Eyre is it's just interesting. Like I feel like it's an interesting book, but it's not like it's a romance mystery with a twist of or a hint of mystery, because the majority of the book takes is with her and Mr. Rochester, obviously their love life, and them kind of um, meeting together and growing to love each other, because they don't like each other in the beginning of the book. It's obvious. Then as the book progresses, Mr. Rochester falls head over heels in love with Jane. But Jane does not see this, and she also kind of has feelings for him, but it's not like, even though it's told by her perspective, I didn't feel like Jane was like on board at first with developing a relationship with her employer. And I don't know if it's just her as a person that was like, oh, this is wrong, or if it was like, yeah. So I don't know if I really um like enjoyed that part. And honestly, I didn't really enjoy, like I gave it a 3.5 because I did love the writing. The writing is excellent, but I think the story wise is just kind of more heavily on the romance side. Now it's not like sex scenes or anything. There's no sex in that book whatsoever, but that's because it was written a long time ago, and it's not that people didn't have sex a long time ago, but it's just like less like you want to be pure kind of. And this is also like I found like out that this is also kind of a religion type of book, so it kind of like takes, the form. They talk about God a lot, and if you're not someone who enjoys like being pressured by that, I guess. I don't know if it's like pressured or um, if it's just not pressured. But like I felt like the Jane Eyre, like the Mr. like Jane Eyre was kind of pressured into the way of God and how God gives you things and stuff. But she has also gone through a whole hell of a lot. So yeah, I did really enjoy the mystery. The mystery is the one that caught me the most surprised. I love the ambience of the novel and the darkness of the novel, like gothic. It's definitely a gothic literature, even though it's not really scary, like Dracula or Frankenstein, which is another gothic literature. But Jane Eyre is definitely gothic in its structure, so it's not like Wuthering Heights, I would say, or Jane Austen, because that's like light and contemporary. So this one's more of a darker story, but even though it has that dark elements and stuff, and I still think its majority is a romance. Um, and I do like romance, but it has to be done the right way. It has to be really, really good throughout. This was also a hate to love romance, but kind of, because I feel like Mr. Rochester really like falls in love with her first, to be honest. Like he lets her sit on her lap. Oh, can I have you sit on my lap? And yeah, I don't know. I just think that Mr. Rochester was definitely showing signs he was interested in more than an employee. I mean, you wouldn't tell your coworker to sit on your lap. You would never do that. That's like so wrong. So yeah. Anyway, and those are the three books that I read or I have read. I have also read Zoo. And I'm gonna talk about this one as well. Zoo is oh my god, it's so good. This is about a guy named Oz, and he is a scientist, but he kind of like flunks out of university, or he decides to drop out of university because there's a problem with animals, and the animals are attacking humans for absolutely no reason. So the entirety of this book is him trying to solve these animal, like I guess the attacks and the animal stuff. And it's really gruesome. Like oh my gosh, the first chapter really reels you in with the lions, and there it says a zoo, a local zoo that's kind of like run down. It's like a rundown, maybe it's an older zoo or something, and not as kept up or whatever, because people don't go there anymore or something. And this guy gets his head, like he gets eaten by a male lion, and it's like horrific, but it's definitely like like it's horrible, um how they describe it, but it actually made me more captivated to read it, because it's like what's going on with these animals and all that stuff. It does have really cheesy lines, I say. Like Oz's character is hilarious to me because of those cheesy lines. Like he gets a dollar thong for this girl that he likes, but she's in college. And then she also like tells him that she's she's not in a relationship with him or can't be serious with him because she's in college and she like got a D on her one of her tests or something. And I was like, go girl, you don't let him distract you and stuff. And then she ends up like feeding his monkey and dying. So yeah, that's a spoiler. But she ends up like feeding his monkey. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be studying? Like what the heck? So that was a little lame. But what are you doing? No. 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 Don't play with my phone. All right. Enough about that. Anyway, um, so that's really interesting. I love that book. It's just so good. And it also deals with the government and them kind of thinking they're above everybody else, kind of thing. In one of the end, when they found out like what's causing the chaos, which I don't think is believable. But if you read the book, then I want your opinion to see if you agree with me, because I don't agree with that at all. Like it's not what I like. Yeah, in a I like the virus thing was great. This the attacks were great. So much stuff was great. Bobby, what are you doing? Why don't you want it? Huh? Small? Okay. It's okay, Bobby. Anyway, so that's it. I know it's not small. Anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed Zoo. Not my favorite book. So yeah. And none of these except The Help was my favorite book. So yeah. Comment down below if you read any of these books. I will leave my website in the description in case you want to, check that out. I don't know if you do. And that's it. Bye.